currently ongoing right now. This is after, you may have heard it, there was an indictment of New York State Attorney General Letitia James. And right now, citywide elected officials have decided to come together to talk about this indictment. They're calling it political persecution. Let's listen into this rally that's ongoing in New York City here on Live Now from Fox.
Threatening our democracy on so many levels. It was just up the street that Tish James secured a win over Donald Trump worth about $1 billion. And I know she'll continue to prevail in the face of all of this crap. And no matter what you do, Donald, you're still a convicted felon, and she beat you by $1 billion that you're going to have to pay her. He's called for her prosecution. He's called her scum and racist. And she's continued to call him out, and we will as well. She stands for the people. We stand by her. And I want the people of New York and Americans all over to understand what is happening. Today it is Tish James. And it's no longer tomorrow, it could be you. Tomorrow it will be. This is only going to get worse and worse. It is going to be a new person every time. People with less power, with less privilege, people who don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. Anybody who tweets, who speaks up, who says this is wrong, you can be subject to what's happening. History shows us that silence is not protection. This should be viewed in light of everything that's happening, the militarization of the National Guard in our cities, Pam Bondi saying that we should treat people who oppose Trump like we treat cartels. This man is trying to put his face on a coin. They have made it clear they want to practice military drills on our cities, on our residents, on our citizens. This should be viewed in that light. We stand with you, Tish. We stand up for democracy. We stand against the authoritarian in the White House. And we're asking every New Yorker, every American, to use your conscience, allow your conscience to come through. This president, who represents the worst in all of us, allowing that worst to be reflected by some people, it is time to fight that, and to really speak up your conscience and recognize what is going on here, and go through history anywhere in the world that you'd like to. From Rwanda to Germany to Haiti to Dominican Republic to Vietnam to any place, to America. Look at what happens when the things I mentioned occur and the leaders start trying to jail their opposition. That's what's happening in the United States of America in 2025. And I'm thankful to have an Attorney General named Letitia James for New York State that says she's going to stand up for all of us, regardless of what comes her way. Thank you, Tish James, and we stand with you. And with that, I'd like to call up the Speaker of the City Council, Adrienne.
Thank you, Public Advocate. Thank you for bringing us together this evening. What we know, that Donald John Trump has an enemy's checklist. And he is going down that list, person by person. I consider this to be his retaliation tour. Retaliation against those that dare stand up against his lawlessness. Retaliation against those who dare to stand up against his authoritarianism. Retaliation against those who dare to speak out against the militarization of our armed forces and others going in to individual cities to disrupt and create chaos. Donald Trump is on a mission of retaliation. He is coming against the very thing and the very things that he is sworn to protect in the United States of America. Donald Trump is trampling on the Constitution of the United States, the very thing that our New York State Attorney General stands for.
That's right.
Donald Trump tramples it. This is not what America was built on. This is not the foundation of American principles. This is the antithesis of our America. When we look at this wannabe dictator and the harm that he has caused by having this enemies list, he is taking away the very thing and the very people, or trying to, attempting to. He will not be successful, but he is attempting to take away the very people that stand up for right things, that stand up for truth, that stand up for righteousness, that stand up for protection, and that stand up for the law. This is not what a president who is sworn to protect and uphold the Constitution of the United States is put in the White House to do. Donald Trump is eroding everything that we stand on in the belief of our principles in this great United States. And I tell you that the person that told me if Donald Trump disrupts your work, comes against the law, as you stand as the first black speaker of the New York City Council, if Donald Trump stands to disrupt and create lawlessness when you have the power to protect New Yorkers, Adrian, sue him. This is the fear that is within Donald Trump, that stands in the embodiment and the fearlessness of my mentor, New York State Attorney General Letitia James. Donald Trump, she does not fear you. You fear her. And it is evident in what you are attempting to do in taking down this amazing woman of law who protects the sovereignty of New York State and protects New Yorkers from lawless individuals like yourself. This is what you fear. Well, the three of us have come to bring you a message this evening, Mr. President. We will not stand for the disruption and the chaos that you have come to bring to our city and to our country. We will not stand for the disruption and the chaos that you have come to bring to our New York State Attorney General, who took an oath to uphold the law. We have come to let you know that we will speak out, not just tonight, not just tomorrow, not just next week, but whenever we have to. We will make our truths known to our New Yorkers and to the people of this nation, that we will not stand by idly and let you trample on our democracy. We will stand with New York State Attorney General Tish James as she stands on this great democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to call up our Comptroller, Brad Lander.
Thank you, Public Advocate. Thank you, Speaker. Donald Trump, you keep your grubby, corrupt, criminal, abusive, weak, cowardly hands off New York State Attorney General Tish James. New Yorkers don't play. Tish James has always had our back. She has protected the rights of all New Yorkers, and you better believe we will have hers. New Yorkers are angry tonight. I'm angry tonight. And, you know, in this moment of creeping authoritarianism, you keep asking the questions, well, when is it an emergency? When is it a constitutional crisis? Well, I'm telling you, it is an emergency now. It was already an emergency. I mean, was it an emergency when Donald Trump pardoned insurrectionists? That was an emergency. Was it an emergency when he stole $80 million from New York City and thought we could do whatever we want with people's money? That was an emergency. Was it an emergency when he started lawlessly abducting our neighbors with masked ICE agents at 26 Federal Plaza? That was an emergency. Was it an emergency when he decided I could send the troops wherever I want and send them into Los Angeles and Washington and Chicago? That was an emergency. But I will tell you, when a president who knows he's lying and knows you know he's lying can corrupt the criminal justice system, fire a federal indict people criminally, and let's just remember that's what's happening here. Like, president lies, fires federal prosecutor who won't lie, forces federal prosecutor to bring a false criminal prosecution against a duly elected state official for doing her job with the intent to send her to jail. That is an emergency, and it is time for us to stand up together and resist it. You know, I think it is important to recognize, you know, like, before Trump, there's this term gaslighting, and I thought maybe it got overused. But let's talk about what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is when the liar knows they're lying, and the liar knows everyone else knows they're lying. And that is what is the prosecutor who's bringing it tonight knows it. You know it. New Yorkers know it. Americans know it. There is nothing to this charge. And it's not that Donald Trump thinks that he can prove that there is. It's that Donald Trump thinks because he's president, he could do whatever the hell he wants, put whoever in jail he wants, even though he knows it's false. And you know it's false. And that, my friends, is a democratic emergency. And, you know, look, Tish James, boy, she's going to be just fine. Tish James is one fierce fighter, and we have all seen that. She has had the backs of New Yorkers time and time and time again. If you're a black homeowner who's had your deed stolen, it's just Tish James you want fighting on your side. If you're a Jewish New Yorker who is facing anti-Semitism, Tish James is who you want on your side. If you're a young person who wants to see what it looks like when someone stands up and uses the law as a sword and as a shield, Attorney General Tish James is who you want on your side. But what's critical here is she's giving us the opportunity to stand up together, because that was what is required right now. And, you know, Jumaane has been saying this in recent days. When we look back and ask the question, what were people doing in past moments of emergency? There are a few people whose names we know. And when they write the history books about this time, Tish James is going to be one of those names, because she had the courage to bring the prosecution for fraud against this president and win that significant finding against him for fraud. And now the question, New Yorkers and Americans, is what are we going to do to stand up?
All right, as you see, they're just listening into this press conference live out of New York as Brad Lander, the city comptroller, is now speaking. Of course, one of the many officials reacting to this indictment of the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. I want to put this up on your screen. It came out to us as breaking news just a little while ago. Have this from the New York Post, that New York AG Letitia James indicted over mortgage fraud claims. And so we'll continue to dive into that story and many more updates as they continue to come to us here on Live Now from Fox. But we are in a new hour here on Live Now. And of course, one of the